martial arts is $1 million business. It is a business. It's not a hobby, and it's not my hobby. It's my business, so I have to run it like a business. And a lot of people think, oh, he's just trying to make money. But aren't we all? Like, we have to make a living, and we have to be comfortable. We put ourselves out there. We hurt our bodies. We miss out with the family to go to the fights, to have that hope that one day they're going to be a champion.
It's naive to think that you can make a living with your passion if you're not learning how to run a business. That's not going to work.
A lot of things we do from our heart, but also you have to pay for your service. You have to know your worth.
Who's the favorite kid?
Oh, there's no favorite.
Oh, come on, Angie. You don't lie. What's your brain telling you?
I will die here. That's the mentality that you need to be a successful fighter. You don't care if your face is cut open. You don't care if you can't punch with your right hand. You can still punch with your left hand.
Welcome to the Creative Grit podcast, where we're committing to helping creatives find grit to become successful. And we do that by teaching you a bunch of different areas of life, not just filmmaking, not just the craft, but I want to help you guys get better on other aspects that will also help you become successful, like mindset, business, fighting, and etc. So today, we're very lucky to have another legend on the podcast. She's a 2-time world Muay Thai champion. She's also married to a 10-time world champion, Angela Parr, and she's a business owner. She owns Boonchu Gym. Please welcome Angela Parr.
Thank you.
Did I get that right? Did I get everything right?
Yeah, that was good.
Yeah.
It's funny when you asked me my name and to just like do a test, and I said Angela, which I never like to be called Angela.
Yeah.
I prefer Angie.
Yeah.
And then you said Angela, and I was like, haha, I don't think you've ever called me Angela.
I don't think I've ever called you Angela. That's true. Yeah, I always call you Anya. Everyone calls you Anya.
I prefer.
So do you, like, when you introduce yourself to, let's say, in like a professional environment or anything, do you say Angie or do you say Angela?
I think I say Angela.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, it's a bit more profesh, right?
Yeah, I don't know. It's just, I think, natural. Like, that's my name, and Angie's my nickname.
Yeah,
so,
awesome. In here, we get to call you Angie because we're family. So, Angie, for people that have no idea who you are and what you do, can you give us a bit of a brief description on who you are and what you do?
Yeah, I own Boonchu Gym with my husband, Angela Parr, and we have a lot of fighters and we have a lot of students. So I manage the gym. I also clean the gym. You know, I do marketing for the gym and stuff like that. So I'm pretty busy because my kids are also training and competing. So I'm at competitions almost every weekend.
Yeah, awesome. So how do you started doing Muay Thai?
So I started when I was 17 years old. Wow. I wanted to learn a self-defense. So I was looking around different gyms in my city, but there wasn't that many, and it was like karate and stuff like that. So I ended up doing a self-defense course in university, and it was across the street from my house, and it was really convenient. And the guy trained fighters, so I started there. I did a couple years in California, but I really wanted to pursue my career, so I moved to Las Vegas.
Yeah, awesome. So then did you move to Las Vegas? You started training. And at what point were you like, yeah, this is the thing that I wanted to pursue?
Well, I knew. So my whole point after leaving California was like, I need to pursue this professionally. So it was either move to a famous gym called Fairtex, and that was in San Francisco, or Las Vegas, or even New York. There was a really good trainer there. I just wanted to be somewhere that was like, you know, a good place to find matches and be a busy fighter. And Las Vegas was really close to my hometown, so I could drive home every other weekend and visit my family, because my family is really important to me. So I would just, you know, go to Las Vegas, live there for a week or two, and I'd drive home for the weekend, stay home for 2 days, sleep on my parents' couch, and then I'd drive back to training. But I had to stop doing that. My trainer was like, you're getting too tired. The drive is too long. You know, you really need to stay here and focus on training.
Did someone tell you like, hey, look, I think you have potential? Or did you just were like kind of stubborn and like, I just want to do this?
Well, my first ever fight was like an exhibition at a smoker. So people just rock up, they weigh in, they get matched, and they fight. And I lost my first fight. And one of the Thai trainers came up to me. He's like, "You have a lot of potential. Keep doing it. Don't stop. You're awesome." So I think, you know, hearing that sort of stuff is very motivating. And yeah, I wasn't stopping after that loss.
in retrospective, what do you think he looked like? What do you think he appreciated about you that he thought, yeah, this girl has potential?
Maybe heart, because I didn't give up. Like I was versus somebody who was way more experienced than me, but there was nothing stopping me. Like I was going at it until the bell rang at the end. So I think for Thai boxing and Muay Thai, it comes down to heart. Like you have to have a big heart to be a good fighter.
Yeah, we're gonna get into that, but I'm excited to hear your perspective on that. But I want to jump to how do you get to Australia? So you were born in the States, you're training there, life is happening there. How do you get to Australia?
Well, John Wayne was actually just talking about this, that he got deported. So he overstayed his visa by 3 days. We were planning on living in USA. We were going to live in San Diego. He was going to be a trainer. We were going to work out of a gym and look for fights after I had Jasmine. But he got deported. So I had to sell everything and pack up and move here before I couldn't travel anymore and have the baby with my husband.
Yeah, wow. So did you guys meet at the gym?
We met in Las Vegas. We were both fighting, and we hit it off instantly. And then maybe 3 months of Las Vegas, we decided to move to San Diego.
Wow.
And that's when we took the big leap to leave my home gym and do something on our own.
Do you think that's like an old school thing that you meet and so quickly move in with each other? Because I feel like today sounds crazy. If I tell someone like in 3 months I moved in with a girl, just, people will be like, "What?"
Really?
Like, yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I think when you have true love and real love, that it's just so instant. Yeah.
How do you know if it's true love though?
I just like when they. Like one time I wasn't sure if I wanted to be with him, and he like left the room and my heart like broke, and I was just like, I know I don't want to be away from him. I just wanted to stay with him.
And what about, because I'm also so interested in like this side of love things. I even asked my mom recently, like, hey, what about my dad? What's that got you? Like why? And she gave me like the most beautiful speech and breakdown of why she fell in love with him. Why did you fall in love with John Wayne Parr?
I just thought we were so similar. Like, even though he'd done a lot more than and accomplished more than I did, I just felt we were so similar. I loved the Thai culture. I was learning to speak Thai. He spoke fluent Thai. Muay Thai was my life. It's also his life. Yeah, we were just so similar. And because, I don't know, our birthdays are very close. We're both Geminis. I just feel like, he was the guy version of myself.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
So you guys come to Australia, and what happens next? Like, when did Boonchu started?
So Boonchu started in 1996, and his sponsors helped him open the gym. But when he went to like Thailand, they said, "Do you want to fight under my gym, or do you want to fight under Boonchu, which is the Thai restaurant, Richard Vell's restaurant?" So he said Boonchu. And then that's where it all started. The gym was established here in Mermaid Beach. And then he decided to leave and go teach abroad in America. So that's when he left. And he wasn't happy here. I think maybe he was looking for me. I don't know.
Yeah. He needed you. Yeah. They always say, what do you say? Like, behind every great man, there's a great woman.
Thanks. Yeah. No, but like it was just he wasn't happy here, and he knew that he didn't want to be here, and he wanted to explore and get out there and get his name out there, maybe get some fights in USA. It was really good for him to go to USA because he saw how much the top fighters were making, and he put his profile up, also winning fights, and he got a lot of opportunities from going overseas.
That's a great point as well. Like, when you have no idea what other people are making in whatever market you are. It's the same for videographers and stuff that that you might be charging, I don't know, $500 or whatever for a video, and then until you find someone that is charging way more than that, it almost doesn't click inside your mind.
And
it's
it
like
did. And then he said, "I'm not coming back to Australia to fight for what I was making. I'm making this. If you want me, you have to pay that." And that's what happened. And it was really good. It was funny because we were fought in New Mexico, and there was a really famous fighter named Johnson on Fairtex, and they were trying to put him and John Wayne together, and we were in the limo because we were fighting, but Jungson must have been with a fighter or something. He's like, hey, don't fight for cheap for them. Let's put our prize money up, and then we'll fight each other. But they never ended up fighting each other. But he's super famous trainer and fighter from the 90s golden era. So he's amazing. Him and John Wayne almost met a couple times
right.
in centering. Yeah.
So how does it work for a fighter, let's say like Wayne, or even in your case back then? Like, did you guys have to negotiate on your behalf, or do you have someone? How
Yeah.
did it work?
Well, I used to train under Master Toddy, so he negotiated my prize money. And then when John Wayne and I left, we just negotiated ourselves because we knew what we were worth. We knew when we wanted to fight, if we were ready. So that's what the big break was from us just becoming, our own trainers and our own bosses. That's why we left.
Yeah. Was it hard to do the switch? Because I found that for creatives, that's a big problem. Like switching from just being a creative to understand, like, hey, you're a business owner, or you need to understand business if you want to make a full-time living and all this stuff. Like, it took me a few years, and even running into the right people to tell me, like, hey, you're not doing this right, and you're not gonna make a living if you don't fix these things.
Yeah. So I think you eventually you figure that out. Like how much you're worth, and you just know you want more, and that you're gonna do more for yourself. So sometimes it comes to that point. And a lot of fighters have done that. They've left my gym, or they've went off to do other things. And some people have been really successful, and people kind of drift off, and they're no longer part of the sport anymore. I think for us it was all or nothing. So yeah.
And it has to be like that, hey, like having that mindset of that's the way I see my life. Everything since I came to Australia 6 years ago, to me, it was all or nothing. I burn every ship, and I have to make it here, and I have to make it, and I have my why behind me. And I always almost, I think you're into David Goggins as well, right?
Bit,
I love him, and it's almost like always creating that dark matter scenario in your head in which it's all or nothing. I try to recreate that consistently in my head, even with the little things.
Yeah, I've learned a lot from being around the sport too, because in, America, martial arts is $1 million business. They have the population. It is a business. It's not a hobby, and it's not my hobby. It's my life, and it's my business. So I have to run it like a business. I can't run it like, hey guys, this is the recreational place for nonprofit. It got to the point at Christmas, we couldn't afford to buy each other a present. All of my husband's prize money went into gym rent. I was like, okay, guys, things have to change. I know how to run a business. I helped Master Toddy for, 2-3 years. I know what it takes to make this gym successful. And, I had some really big goals, and we've achieved them. Yeah.
Side note, I met Master Toddy like maybe 5 years, no, it's like 4 years ago actually. I went to Thailand for the first time, and I was looking like, oh, where can I do? Because I did, when I was 21, so years ago, I did a little bit of Muay Thai back then, and a little bit of grappling, and it always came to me like, oh, I want to get back into this, but back then I didn't have the money. I was studying dentistry, so it was my mom and dad were like, you're not doing this, you're gonna fucked up your wrist, and then scary, so and then when I went to Thailand, I was like, I would love to do a class in here. And I ended up finding Master Toddy's gym. He was such a lovely person.
Yeah, he's very charismatic. And that's what he does. He runs a business, and, he teaches like instructor certificates and all that stuff. And a lot of people think, oh, he's just trying to make money. But aren't we all? Like, we have to make a living, and we have to be comfortable.
Yeah.
Like, we put ourselves out there. We hurt our bodies by holding pads. We take our weekends off. We miss out with the family to go to the fights, those little, small, tiny fights, to have that hope that one day they're going to be a champion.
Yes.
So we make a lot of sacrifices too. And, a lot of things we do from our heart and our passion, but also, you have to pay for your service. You have to know your worth.
Yeah, and that's the reality, right? Like it's naive to think that you can make a living with your passion if you're not learning how to run a business. Is unfortunately that's not gonna work. For the longest time, I was thinking like, I'm just gonna be so good at what I do that people will come to me and all these things. And there's so many variables to that. You can only be so good, and you need to approach different things. You need to learn about marketing, advertising, customer service, all these different things that make a successful business, right? So you come to Australia, you start running Boonchu again, right? Jazzy is what, like 1 year old?
She was just born, came to the hospital.
Wow.
Yeah, from the hospital to the gym.
How hard was that? Like
it was fine because, growing up in a gym is a really good environment. They say it takes a village to raise a child. And I had all the people in the gym helping me, and I had really good people. And so I could bring her to work, and I could work and, take care of her at the same time. So I probably started training 6 weeks after I had Jasmine.
Wow.
And so I was already training, and that's part of the business. I was teaching classes, gave John Wayne a opportunity to hold the baby and stuff like that. So we just did it together, and it was really, really easy.
And was the gym closed while he was away in America?
No, it was being run by the fighters.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So he left the fight. That's a good thing.
And one
yeah.
instructor that he has his own gym now. It's Urban Gym in Mermaid. Yeah, I think it's a Mermaid. No, it's not Mermaid. Miami. Anyway, the one of the trainers ran the gym, and they did a good job while we were away.
So
While he was away.
You come back, you get back into the gym and all these things. You start running. How did things go? Did you start it did you found some obstacles at the beginning because you were learning a few things?
Well, yeah, definitely obstacles, because it was the first. I came in October and November and December, and it was like Wayne's prize money was actually helping fund that gym, and the honor system that people had is just like paying when they remembered wasn't going to work. So I had to, make membership cards and stuff like that, and, get people on a direct debit system or like a payment plan. And then, just getting people organized and running it a little bit for a service that we were giving. It just made it a lot better once we established that. Like, it wasn't just come in and pay the money in the bucket and, hey, I paid this week. Sure you did. So,
sure you did.
Yeah. It was a very relaxed business. I think it was almost like kind of run like a YMCA, it wasn't that business. But when I came in, I had to make it that way. It wasn't going to work the other way, because we were offering more classes. We were a full-time gym. We didn't have a job at home. Our only job was fighting. So we had to change the structure of the business.
Did you had some sort of mentor, or was it all from what you witnessed?
It was all from what I learned. I learned a lot of stuff too in San Diego, because the gym that so Master Dottie's had a really busy gym, but nothing was as busy as what I saw in San Diego. They had a boxing gym, and they had 1,500 people. 1,500 students.
That's crazy.
They ran their direct debit system themselves. They typed their credit card number in, and every month they took their, direct debit fees, and, you could do it that way as well. I thought that was pretty crazy. Thank goodness, there's technology now that you could just fill out on an app a direct debit. So that was a crazy. And just customer service. They had 3 women at the reception. Like, I've always been at the reception, but I can come and go a little bit at Boonchu. But yeah, it was definitely like mind blown.
I bet it's also good now that your kids are much mature, right? And Jazzy's helping so much. It seems like from observation, like it seems like Jazzy does so much.
Too.
Yeah, exactly.
She benefits so much from the gym. Like, she doesn't have to buy waters. She doesn't have to buy gear. Whatever she needs, it's accessible, so she can just take whatever she wants. It's her business as well. Yeah. And like, whenever, if she needs a little bit of extra cash, we don't have a problem giving it to her, because she, works there as well. So I always just say to Jessie, this is your business too. Yeah. Like, whatever we make, you make. Yeah. You benefit from it as well. So that's how they see it.
Yeah, and that's awesome, because then they have skin on the game as well. Yeah. They understand, like, okay, we need this thing to work and be successful, right? Yeah, and Jesse's also like, he's massive, by the way. Yeah. Like, I met him just over a year ago, I think. He was smaller than me. He's so big. I'm like, I know. How is he getting this big? And it seems like he's gonna grow even more.
I think so. Yeah, he's just eating and sleeping and training. That's all he does.
Yeah, that's all.
And a little bit of school.
Who's the favorite kid?
Oh, there's no favorite.
Oh, come on, Angie. You don't lie like that to my face.
Did you
Gemma,
have siblings?
Jessie, or Jazzy? I have a little sister.
So is she the favorite? Or are you the favorite? You can't say.
The thing is, my parents are the ones that have to answer that.
No way.
Yeah.
No, they're all equally loved.
Come on.
No, I don't have a
feel
favorite.
like it's Jessie, but I'm not sure.
No, and if you could say who's going to be the most successful, I'd have money on Gemma.
On Gemma?
Yeah.
Yeah, right. Okay.
Because I was the youngest, I was a little bit crazy, and like they're not afraid, and they have big brothers make them tough. Like
Yeah.
just
Okay. That's a
today,
good point.
I was every day I have like a 20-minute siesta, and I was just laying down and
20 minutes. Yes.
and then Gemma goes, "Ow!" And I'm like, something happened. And I was like, "What happened?" And he's like, Gemma's like, "Jesse hit me." And I was like, "Okay, you guys are cool. Just leave me alone." Like normally in a normal situation, how dare you hit your sister?
Yeah.
I don't know what they're doing. They're probably just sparring out
Yeah,
there. So
yeah.
I was just like, okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, she's going to be so tough. She is.
She's
And I think
so
she's going to
lovely,
be
isn't
taller than Jasmine too. So Jasmine's like a little pocket rocket. Jazzy's like, I'm going to be a millionaire. I'm going to be
Yeah.
so successful. And Jesse's like, I'm going to drive a car like Stylebender. And then, but Gemma, I think she's just going to, I don't know. I feel like she's going to be really successful.
Do you think so? Yeah.
Yeah.
So what kind of stuff is she saying now? Like
She likes Muay Thai, but I think she'll like MMA. Where Jazzy's kind of drifted from the MMA. She's like in the boxing. So I don't know. I just feel like she'll be really good.
yeah, that's awesome. If she were to like, because obviously they're growing up in a world class house, of champions, and fully committed to sport. If she were to tell you like, hey, I just want to be a painter, what would you tell her? Like,
I'm totally supportive, whatever she wants to do, as long as she, is successful in her life and she doesn't have to borrow money off of me every week. Whatever you want to do, love. Besides OnlyFans.
yeah. So what would you say? Is that a thing? Have you had a chat about that in your house? Like, hey,
yeah, Jazzy's like, man, Mom, I could make so much money. I was like, Jasmine, you can't, but you're selling your soul.
Yeah.
So, I know a lot of people think that it's fine and this is a great way to make money. But look, from my family and my morals, I probably couldn't do it. Even I sometimes think, how come I didn't walk around naked when I was 20? I was, like super fit. Like that is the most beautiful, age is like 21, 20. And like, I get it. These kids right now, they're in their bikinis, they're loving the beach, and they wear less and less and less. But I just think
it feels like that, right? Like every year is just a bit less.
I'm like, can you wear shorts, please? But yeah, I think it's just something that, look, I'm not going to judge people, but I probably didn't want that for my children.
Yeah, okay. Would you be that's funny because I was gonna ask that to Jazzy, because obviously with the big following she has and all the attention, I'm like, she could make so much money so quick, and especially you just need to go to the comments and you can see all the nasty people there. You're like, she will make so much money. So have you ever like had to like, hey, this is the one thing I don't want you to do?
Look,
or
I
like
can't control my kids. That's what I've
that's
learned.
the thing as well, right?
I have no control. She keeps getting tattoos every week, and I'm just like, stop getting tattoos. So we can't control our children. We're not the owners of our children. They own themselves, and they just get to make their own choices, and hopefully we guide them in the right direction.
Yeah, that's awesome. Going back to the gym, now with everything and from your own experience running a gym for many years, what does it take to have a successful business? Like things that you have learned that not only apply to a fighting gym, but like almost any gym.
Yeah. Well, I like to run a good business. I don't want to people to say bad things about us and just say that we didn't care or we just took people's money and stuff like that. I've had students go on holiday and they're like, okay, I'm gonna go to Greece and travel Europe. I'll be back next month. I was like, hey, I'll freeze your membership, and they're like, no, you don't have to do that. I was like, yeah, I do. I don't mind. Like, so I want to run a good business. I want to help people when I can. If I can. Like, I don't want to be used either. So I do charge for my services for the fighters. If there was ever a fighter that couldn't afford to pay, I mean, we could work something out. But just running a good business and not just doing it for the money. I don't do it for the money. I want to have happy people. I want to have people that want to come into the gym. I don't ever sell people like membership and hassle them and keep till they buy it. I don't push them into doing it. If you want to train, you train. Sometimes when people write me an email, I just think, don't write an email. Just come up and show up. Come try it out. Like I did that. So when I wanted to move and be a successful fighter, I left work, didn't tell anyone, drove straight to Las Vegas, sat in Master Toddy's office, and I said, I want to train here. He said, oh, that's awesome. I said, I need to move here. Okay, I'll help you move here. I'm actually building a camp. I said, perfect. I will live in a closet, whatever it takes to be a fighter. So sometimes it takes that. It takes your own self push rather than having to sell this product. I don't want to sell my product. I want people to come in, want to do it, and those are the people who are going to stick with it a little bit longer than somebody pushed into it.
So let's say that's like customer service, right?
Yeah,
Like
I think
making sure
customer
that
service is important, like, and keeping people happy, seeing how they're doing, and like, there's a lot of things like that that I think helps run a successful business. Branding, of course. Like, we worked really hard having Boonchu be an international name, and that's from John Wayne Parr's success, and just making a really good product, like his t-shirts, people hurt in business, having slogans and stuff like that. So just having a good product, and I feel like we do have a good product, and people are like, oh, how come you don't franchise? And John Wayne's always said, I don't want a watered down version of myself. I want you to come here, meet me, see my pictures on the wall, and come train with me. And so that's why we don't have like franchises. But the one thing I would like to see in the future is having Jasmine have a Boonchu gym, Jazzy have a Boonchu gym, Gemma have a Boonchu gym, and they all have, our legacy and just everything on the walls and just all the memories and stuff like that.
That will be amazing, because I was gonna ask you that, like, why have you thought about that? But that sounds so much better, because Jazzy does exactly the same that you guys do, right? So it's almost like a replica.
That's what we want, and no one's ever going to be able to replicate us. We do have really good trainers and stuff like that, and they stick with us for many, many years, and they start picking up our exact habits, like, and not habits, but like our techniques, and so they're teaching the same way that we're teaching, but it's never exactly the same.
Yeah, they all have their little
they have
tweaks,
a little bit
right?
of, whereas Jasmine, it's like, I hear me, I hear Wayne, it's one of us. It's definitely.
No, it's awesome when I first understood that dynamic, and I was like, wow, it's almost the same exact thing, but that's all she has ever done, right? Like,
so she copies us and mimics us. It's really cute.
Yeah, that's awesome. So what does it take, you being a former world champion yourself and being with a 10-time world champion, what are the ingredients? Like, what are the things that make a world-class fighter or even a world-class individual?
Well, I think, having that heart to not give up and the resilience of just failing and coming back and failing and coming back. So you just definitely can't give up. So that's one of the things. It's just knowing what you are capable of and how far you want to go. Like, he knew what he was worth. He knew how amazing he could be. And he just always believed in himself and just kept going and got a lot of opportunities and made those opportunities, shine by just being himself, a champion fighter. But he works so hard. Like, so a lot of people like, sponsor me, they've been training 5 years or 2 years, and they want to, they want funding and help. It took my husband 20 years to get sponsored, to get any financial support. He worked hard for a long time, and because he was just completely passionate and completely, focused on his career Muay Thai.
When did it become like, okay, we can make a good living out of this? When do you had that eye-opening moment?
I think when he won his first big tournament. So he won $1 million baht, which was like 30,000 Australian dollars, and then it just catapulted his career, and just he got opportunities in Europe and Asia and Japan and stuff like that. He fought Japan 17 times. Wow. Like, he's just been very successful and just exciting. And that's another thing. Like, people think, oh, I should be getting paid this, I should be getting paid that. I was like, well, you got to knock people out. Don't forget that's part of it. You got to be exciting.
Yes.
He was exciting.
Yes.
And, people paid good money to watch him fight. And you could hear the crowd. He would sell out arenas in Australia. So he just needed like a great promoter. And he would sell out, shows himself, because he was just amazing.
So having heart, being exciting, an exciting person.
Yes.
What else would you say is key ingredient?
Not giving up.
Being resilient.
Yeah, because you're going to fail a lot. You're not going to win every world title. You're going to lose some, but you come back and you keep going. Like, he had really bad injuries, and you think, oh, he's going to stop. No, it didn't stop him. He kept going. Like, one time he got his eye socket broken, and it was like, he told me, he couldn't fly home. He had to drive home from Melbourne. He said it felt like a refrigerator dropped on my face. And I was like, yeah, that sounds pretty painful. And I never thought, are you ever going to quit? No, because I know him. He doesn't quit. Like, even when he had his hip replacement, he came back and did it again. His hand was so damaged at one point, his wrist and knuckles, that he was like going to have to get surgery. But he just kept going. And now he's like Wolverine hands. Like the scar tissue and he's a superhero to me. You know, he's my idol. I love him. Like, it's just his shins are so hard. Like, everything he's just got a hard structure.
That's beautiful. Yeah. That's superhero. Yeah, that's the way I see my dad as well, like a superhero. That's so nice. That's awesome. That resonates a lot. So obviously after you became a world champion and all these things, like, you know exactly what they've gone through when it's difficult, when it gets difficult. Like, what was going through your head when you were in a fight and things were going not your way? Like, what's your brain telling you?
So the only time I ever got knocked out, she was hitting me hard, and I was just like, this is hurting. This sucks. I was like, I'm going to try to knock her out. And when I tried to knock her out, she actually knocked me out. So that's what your mentality is. It's like do or die. It's one of those things that you have to just, what was Stylebender saying? He's like, I will die here. Like, yes, you know what I mean? That's the mentality that you need to have to be a successful fighter. You don't care. You don't care if your face is cut open. Like, you don't care if you can't punch with your right hand. You can still punch with your left hand. Unless it's something like a refrigerator dropping on your face, you're not going to stop. Like,
when coaching guys, like, can you ever spot the moment in which he gave up, kind of thing?
Yes, you definitely can. I see it all the time. Fighters give up as soon as they get hit sometimes. And it's one of those things that they say, oh, you didn't tell me I was going to get punched in the face. Yeah, you're going to get punched in the face. And some people take that and they can just keep going, and they're trying everything and listening to their coach to come back from that. And then there's people that are just like, keep backing away, and just, you can tell they're giving up. And it's sad, but you know what? That's their life, and that's their challenge that they're putting themselves through. At the end of the day, they jumped over those ropes. At least they took it that far. Yeah. Like, I think it's pretty cool. It's a good achievement. But sometimes people's heart isn't in there. They're a lover. They're not a fighter. Like, you can't say, they're a bad person. Yeah, exactly. It's just not built for them.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's why I want to do one. Yeah. Like, I want to have.
You wouldn't give up. You just keep going.
No, I will die in there. Like, there's no way. Because like, to me, I spoke to a friend that he's a professional fighter in Spain. He does MMA, and I was so scared of my first jiu-jitsu competition. I spoke to him, and he was like, dude, just the fact that you're gonna get on the mats, anyone that gets on the mats or the ring or the octagon, it's a champion already, right? Like, 99% of people wouldn't put themselves through that.
It's a risk.
Yeah, exactly.
You're taking risks. It's like bungee jumping or jumping out of a plane. I think it's pretty cool, but is it for me? No. Yeah. Like, yeah.
Yeah, no, and that's a quality as well. Like, those qualities, having heart, having resilience, those are what I've found from people that I've studied, that they're successful in different areas of life. Like, you need to develop those qualities of being hardworking, having heart. That's why I think it's important to find that thing that you love so much, because then when the obstacles present itself, you'll dig deep and you'll find the motivation and the fuel that you need, regardless of what's happening, right? Did you ever had a time with Boonchu, with the gym, where you were like, look, things are not looking very well. I'm not sure if we're gonna get out of this, or maybe financially wasn't being profitable. Like, did you ever had a really hard season with the gym?
Not really, but like, sometimes you go through phases and like, am I doing enough? Am I doing a good job? And then it just makes me want to work harder. And I still get those phases. So anytime something happens and it's a little hiccup in the road, or maybe a good fighter leaves the gym and you think, oh, what have I done? I'm not doing, we're not good enough. But it's not that. I know we're good enough. I know how successful we have been and what we have achieved, and I'm very proud of that. So I know that, okay, I can work hard too. So I do. when I need to, I put on the pads and I get out there and work with the fighters. I don't have to stay behind and do management and admin and cleaning and kids. I'll get out there and get my hands dirty too. So I think that's a big part of it. And now John Wayne's finally, after 1 year, has settled a little bit. He's got his pads on every day. He's holding pads. He went through a little phase where like, oh shit, he's not really into being the trainer, but because he's such a fighter.
Yeah.
And I get that. But we just gave him his time, and now he's just super excited training Jasmine, training Jesse, training Reese Lightning, and anybody who's got a big fight coming up, he's holding pads as well. We have great trainers and coaches that's come through the gym that have had their fights and they've stopped fighting and they're holding pads, and they're a big part of the family and the team too. So like we all work together and we all get our hands dirty. So I think that's part of keeping a successful business, that you want to keep growing. You don't want to cut it off. You don't want to stop. You just want to keep pushing and grinding.
What is one thing that really annoys you about owning a gym that people don't even think of? You know, like that is something that you found out by doing it and you're like, oh, this part of the business really sucks.
I honestly can't think of anything besides things that I'm going through probably right now. It's just like, I hate chasing money. Like somebody maybe slipped through the crack and they didn't sign their direct debit form, but they've been training. I don't like that sort of stuff. So I have to ask them, hey, you haven't signed up. You owe me a couple months. Like that's the worst.
Yeah.
And there's only very few people that do that, like slip through the crack. And I'm the worst at my direct debits. I don't know what I'm paying. Like I kind of do, but I don't look at my direct debits every day. I don't look at my bank. Thank goodness my husband does. He's very business savvy. He is so smart. Like honestly, with fighting, he's an encyclopedia. He can tell you boxing fights, who won the fight. He could tell you with UFC. He could tell you Muay Thai. He can tell you every fight that he had and how it went. He's got a very high IQ and he's very smart, and so he does all the bills, and he does the savings, and he's very business savvy, so he knows what's going on in the direct debits. But the average Joe, some people don't check their direct debits, so I have to be the bad guy and be like, hey, you owe me money, and I hate that. That's like the worst. I think that's the worst part,
like coming after people that
I like selling things because I know my products are good, but I don't like chasing money. I think that's the worst.
I certify, by the way, that the product is great.
Thanks.
Honestly, I can almost have like a before and after my life here in Australia with Boonchu. Like I absolutely love it. Like the vibe of the gym and you guys, like knowing that it's family owned, and seeing the way you guys run it as well. Like I just love it, and everyone is so lovely. Like I haven't come across someone that I'm like, you know what, that guy is a bit of a dick or whatever. Like everyone, and
fighters can look intimidating, but all the fighters are just like the nicest people, and they're just a little bit, some of them are a little bit Gumby and a little bit like Bogan, or and it's just like, but you teach them respect. You teach them how to wear their shoes to the gym, take off your shoes in the mat and bow and show respect to somebody who's older than you or higher, like the black belts and stuff like that. So it just teaches them stuff maybe they didn't learn in life, and they might look a little bit tough, but they're so nice and they're so respectful, and we just hope that we can teach them a little bit of that. That's what we want, is to help the next generation.
What are the qualities that you feel like you guys are teaching to everyone, besides obviously like working hard and having a good session or whatever? Like beyond that, what are the qualities that you think people can learn by going to a fighting gym?
I think they can learn, just a little bit of confidence, that they can be in a room with people that are not their crowd. Like we teach dentists and you teach doctors, but you teach a plumber and you teach a guy that's working at McDonald's. Like there's all levels, but everyone's the same when you come into the gym. And that's what's a great part. I don't know, who's the rich guy. I don't know who's the poor guy. When we're on the mats, we're all the same. And that's what I love about that. That's
beautiful. That's so true as well. Like sometimes you might be training with someone and you have no idea that is someone ultra successful. They run businesses or whatever. That's so funny. I was thinking about that the other day, like, because I got surprised by someone in particular did for a living, and I'm like, Wow. Yeah. Sometimes you just
Mind
don't
blown.
think of it. Yeah.
Like the artist.
Yeah, exactly.
We have a guy in the gym, and Joe Real, he's amazing, and the artwork that he does looks surreal. It does not even look real. It doesn't even look possible, and that's what he does. Like, and then he's coming in, he gets his little workout
Yeah.
because it's a little bit of therapy. He doesn't want
Yeah.
to fight, and he's boxing with his hands that are his
His instruments.
his
yeah.
instruments. So yeah, it's pretty cool to have all types of people in the gym.
Yeah. Well, what's the worst client experience you have ever had with someone?
Smelly people.
Oh, it's smelly people.
That's the worst. No, I think I've had one drug addict come in, and
wow.
he's like, yeah, I've been sober for, a couple months. And it's like, no, you haven't. You're definitely off your head right now.
Yeah.
And like, we ended up having to kick him out because he was sparring hard versus like a teenager.
yeah, okay.
And he was like, he doesn't belong in this class. And it's like, it's an open match.
Yeah.
It's not a fighter's
Yeah.
class. It was
Yeah.
actually a sparring day. And he was
Yeah.
just so vile and like,
Yeah.
and you could just feel his energy. And I was like, you need to leave. And I ended up walking over and getting my cane because I have like a little cane because he just looked, erratic. Like I didn't know what was going on with him.
Yeah.
And like, I know he's a nice person, but whatever he's taking is changing him.
When you say the cane is like...
Yeah, my little but you know what?
You're about to whoop his ass.
So I was like, you need to go.
Yeah.
And so I'm walking towards him.
Yeah.
But the cane wasn't the scary part. I had 20 guys walking behind me
exactly.
like this.
Yeah.
They were ready to
Yeah,
pounce on him.
exactly.
And I was like,
Yeah.
oh. And I was like, I'm so tough. But it
Yeah.
was not. It was all the guys behind me. But he ended up leaving, and he was a jerk. But
Yeah.
I don't think he's a bad person. I think what he's taken has really messed him up. And that's probably the worst, besides smelly people.
Yeah.
Like, wear deodorant. If you don't want to wear deodorant, shower before you
Yeah.
come. Like, just wear clean clothes. Like, keep your hand wraps clean. Nobody wants to work with a smelly person.
Yeah, and that's a tricky one, right? Because the smelly person will never know that they're smelly. I think they're just used to their own smell, whatever.
It's terrible.
Yeah.
It's the worst.
Yeah. So have you ever had a circumstance in which like someone was maybe being, because that happened actually back home in the first gym that I ever trained, that you had like a bully kind of thing, and
Yeah.
the Wayne had to come in and teach him a lesson? Have you ever?
Yeah, we have that quite often.
Do you? Yeah.
Sometimes people don't realize how hard they go either. And so it escalates. And it's just, I need that one person to be the nice guy and say, hey, can you go lighter?
Yeah.
But sometimes lessons happen in the gym.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's life too, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes you're going to go through a rough patch and you need to be the more responsible one or make the right decision. And sometimes you just walk away and you don't keep sparring. I've done it too. I didn't mean to. Like one girl was sparring so hard versus a teen girl. I was like, okay, we can spar next. And then I kicked her after she kicked me, but my kick landed and she thought I was kind of probably being a bit of like a lesson, like I was being a mean trainer.
Yeah.
But I wasn't. It was just, my technique was a little bit better. I didn't mean to hit her hard, but she got really upset, but she ended up coming back and we just had it, we talked about our feelings and I said, look, you just can't be, a bully here, but in the fight you hold back. And she's like, I don't want to hold back. I want to go hard. I need to push myself hard. So that's why I'm trying to push myself in the gym, but it looks like I'm trying to be a bully. But sometimes you're just communicating and talking about that, because if the more you don't talk about it and the more it builds, it becomes this big chip on your shoulder and you become the bad student that you don't want there anymore.
Yeah.
And you eventually part because there's that chip on the shoulder. They got to go.
Yeah.
And that happens a lot.
What are the ways that you guys have currently to make money besides obviously like the subscription? Like
we have our website so people can buy gloves and sign gloves and t-shirts and shorts and stuff like that. Wayne does seminars as well, and sometimes just different things. Yeah.
The coaches as well, is that like they have to work for Boonchu? Do you let people come as well sometimes to teach their own thing and then you kind of hire the gym for
Not
them?
really. I never really had to do that because we're pretty successful that we don't have to hire in people to work, because our gym's pretty open. I mean, we have cameras everywhere, but I don't want somebody just coming in with a key whenever they want. And just, it's funny that you asked me that, because I was thinking, having coach Professor Daniel Almeida come into my gym. I've never had a trainer from an outside gym come to my gym and coach at my gym ever. He's the first person that I ever did that. So, because anytime anyone tries to come in, they might not fit. in our style,
Yeah.
but I knew he was offering something that I loved and I wanted to study. I knew my kids
Yeah.
wanted to do it,
Yeah.
and I knew other people would love to train with him.
Yeah.
So that was the first time I ever hired an outside trainer.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's people that's been in the gym for a long time. They have our style. They've been loyal to us. Then they're coaches in our gym.
That's probably the best addition you could ever do.
That is
right?
the best. We train our own trainers.
Yeah.
We train trainers to be the trainers that we want to hire.
Dylan, perfect
Yeah,
example.
He's amazing.
He's awesome.
And it didn't happen overnight. He did 1 whole year of shadowing Wayne as a coach in the class. And then we built that trust. We built the same style and the same style of coaching. And sometimes he'll do something. I was like, that's not right. He's like, but John Wayne just did it. I was like, yeah, John Wayne shouldn't have done that. I thought everybody's gonna have their mouth guards in, safety first. So sometimes I have to come in, and that's probably another part that I don't like. I have to be the boss.
Yeah.
And like
you look like the boss.
I just have to make people, follow rules because there's a reason.
Yeah.
I've even told Wayne, I was like, put your mouthpiece in and spar. And he's like, nah, I'll be all right. He chipped his tooth. I was like, you know how much that tooth costs?
Yes.
And like,
Yeah,
And,
I
like,
know.
And my children, like, I paid a lot of money for their teeth.
Yeah.
And if they don't want to wear a mouth guard, I'm not happy if they chip their tooth.
Yeah.
And that's how I know other parents would feel for their children's teeth. So even if they're like 25, they're still a child to me. I'm like, wear your mouth guard. You don't want to chip your teeth. Your mom loves your smile.
Yeah.
So I'm very strict on the rules, but it's for safety.
Yeah.
And it's for their own safety too. It's not always for the other person. I want them to be safe, and I want it to be a safe environment for them.
I'm a bit paranoid, but with teeth, because I studied dentistry, and I know how much it costs to get your teeth fixing here. So I'm always like mouth guard in.
Do you wear a mouth guard when you roll?
Yeah, all the time.
Because I've had a student chip her tooth.
It's so easy.
Rolling.
It's so easy, and it will happen in the most silliest way. To me, it's like, why do I risk it? I can just put it in.
It's 2 seconds.
That's it. Every time I also tell people, like, I'm a bit of a police officer that you have in there. Every time I got someone to roll, you don't want to wear a mouth guard or something, because it could happen in the most stupid way.
But the $10 mouth guards work. I sell the cheapest mouth guards. I actually bought them like enough for a year to sell in the gym because I want people to have a safe environment.
Yeah.
And I think teeth are important.
That's good. That's good. Good job.
You have nice teeth, by the way.
Thank you. You have nice teeth too. Yeah. From being with Wayne, how do you deal with and not just Wayne, even like every fighter, right? Because you go to fights and then they may win, they may lose, they may draw. Like, how do you deal with each one of those? How do you deal with losses? How do you deal with the draws? And how do you deal with winning?
Yeah. Well, with draws, my dad said it's like kissing your sister, and it's nothing to brag about. So, like a boy said, oh, I kissed a girl, but it was your sister. You can't brag about that. So that's what I think about draws. They're not impressive.
Yes.
It kind of sucks because you didn't really win and you didn't lose. So you're like, darn it, So draws are
a weird area.
Yeah, that's a weird area. And then winning is always great. There's something that if you could bottle it up and sell, you'd be a millionaire, a billionaire, because it's such a happy feeling for a couple days, and it's just so exciting. Losing is the opposite. So the depression, the sadness, the regret, you failed. But sometimes those make people a better fighter. Mm-hmm. They come back and they're like, okay, I'm going to work harder. I'm not going to cut corners. When I got knocked out, I dropped my jab to here. I don't drop my jab to here anymore because I know what happens. So you always got to bring your hands up. And I think sometimes those big lessons stop you from making them again. So losses suck. We don't like them. When we win, we all win. When we lose, you feel like you lost too.
Yeah.
It's going to happen. I'm not out there fighting. It's a one-on-one sport. It's up to them to do it. I'll try to match it as best as I can because I help manage the fighters. But I always talk to, John Wayne or Daniel Almeida about the matches. And I was just like, how does this look for you on paper? It looks fine. But when you get out there, it's like, oh, you're completely mismatched. I can't help that. I don't know everybody's history. There is no button that I could push and then Google's not that good. So, sometimes we're going to lose, but that's okay. We just don't stop. That's what I want to, I want the fighters to continue.
Yeah. And you got to become familiar with failure, right? Like everyone that has accomplished anything great in life has failed a ton.
Yeah.
And failed a lot.
Yeah, and don't be stressed about it. Like, especially with the MMA fighters, their amateur record is amateur. Once they turn pro, it changes over. So you got to take every opportunity to get that experience.
What's the difference between the guys that make it to the highest level to the guys that fall short?
I think distractions. So some of the fighters that go all the way, they're not as easily distracted. So like some people get girlfriends or they start making money and they want to work more and they lose interest in fighting because there's not much money and it takes a long time to be at the top of the game. So people that get distracted, I think just the ones that make it are just resilient. They don't give up. They just keep going and they're talented and, just opportunities come knocking and they just, achieve their goals by winning their fights and stuff like that and being exciting. It's not a very high percentage of successful fighters. Like Jasmine, she's 19 years old. She's one of our most successful fighters, but look how long she's been doing it, 10 years fighting. So it's not going to be an overnight success.
What do you think?
And Reese Lightning, he's a black belt. So he's obviously been training over 10 years. So it's not like something that you can achieve and be successful in 2 to 3 years. It's a long-term goal.
What would you think is the percentage coming from your gym? Is it 1% of people that will make it to the highest level and a successful living kind of thing?
2%.
2%. Yeah.
Not that much.
Yeah.
But it depends. Look, we can go through phases. We've created world champions before, like Flip Street and Thor. They were world champions at the time. I won a world championship. John Wynn was also fighting. So there was 5. So that's 5%.
Yeah.
So, if we have 100 students, right?
Yeah.
So sometimes it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It just depends what phase we're going to. But this is what I'm trying to create now. So I got Jesse, my son, who's 14. He's got all his young friends. Whoever can keep going without stopping and not get distracted by girls and money and going out and partying can get to the top.
Yes.
Because they're starting now. That's what it's going to take for them to get to the top.
And like they are in the perfect environment.
They are.
This is all they do. This is all they see. This is all they hear. Like it's that's what it takes. How can you even compete with that? Like I'm just trying to think of someone that is gonna face, Jesse in 10 years time when he's 24.
But they're everywhere.
Yeah.
So that's what was mind opening for me was when I went to America and seeing the kids. They're homeschooled. They're training wrestling at 7 a.m. Then they're training jiu-jitsu. Then they go and have lunch and they come back to lunchtime class. Then they come back and they do afternoon class. They're training 6 to 8 hours a day. So that's who's Jesse's competition. So when Jesse's training 4 hours a day, that's not even enough. He needs to train more. So we're definitely pushing him because he's been doing it since he could walk, like kicking and punching and stuff like that. So he is a little bit of has that, but he's still beatable. And so is Jasmine, and who's been doing it since they can walk. But we just got to keep training super hard. And I tell the guys, I was like, do you think GSP would stop? No, he'd be doing every single class that he could. And even Reese Lightning said that to me. He's like, if I could do every single class, I would do every single class. That's how much they want to train.
Yeah.
Real champions.
Yeah.
The people that, I'm tired, I don't want to train. Yeah, they're not going to be champions.
Yeah, right. What does it take to make a good living from fighting? Do they need to get to one? Do they need to get to UFC? Is that if they don't get there, forget it kind of thing? Reese
is in the top 5. He still has to have a day job, but he's cut back, so he's not working. Yeah, okay. So he still has a day job.
Yeah, right.
So I think our gym was our day job. So we were lucky in that aspect.
Yeah.
Right now, like Dylan, we've helped him out so much that he's got PTs and he teaches classes, so he didn't have to have a day job. So all his work is inside the gym.
Yeah,
and that's
awesome.
what Jasmine did. And it's a perfect environment to be in, to be, become a champion. So we just try to create that environment, and that's what we'll do with Jesse as well, because you need to have money. You're not going to make money for a long time. So it's just one of those things that you're going to fighters have to be poor for a little while.
Yeah.
They do. It's like going to uni and you have to work and pay for uni, right?
Yeah.
You're not rich in uni. driving
Yeah.
a sports car.
Yeah.
You have to wait till you graduate and you've paid off your loans, and then you could buy your dream car. It's the same
Yeah.
with fighting. It's the same. This is their university.
Yeah.
Or right now it's their elementary school because they still got a while.
That's crazy to me. Every time I realize, like, damn, Jesse's only 14.
I know he would love to fight now. In
Wow.
one, he could fight maybe at 16, but we got to make sure his passion's still the same. And
Yeah.
and I'm giving him every opportunity to you know, to still be passionate about the sport. Like next week we're gonna go to Sydney and he's gonna train with Ross Pearson, who was a UFC fighter, and do some wrestling classes.
Yeah.
Because I know Jesse enjoys the wrestling with Reese.
Yeah.
So I just want to create opportunities for him so he's always excited.
Yeah.
My dream for him too eventually is to take him to Thailand. He's never been there, and to be inside the mecca of the
Yes.
sport, and to get more excited about Muay Thai because he does like the jiu-jitsu and the wrestling more.
Yes.
Where Jazzy's been to Thailand 3 or 4 times. She loves it. Every time she leaves, she's like, I don't want to leave. I want to stay here. And it's like, yeah, that's what your dad felt too.
Yeah.
And it excites them. And it gives them, goals like save money, go to Thailand, train, fight, win big fight on TV, happy
Yeah.
days. Like, yeah. So that's what we try to make opportunities for our children.
Is there more money currently in, like, obviously I'm guessing Muay Thai doesn't have any good money, but between
Muay Thai
MMA
is getting bigger with
Okay.
one championship. Yeah. So definitely that's probably where a fighter wants to be to make money, and
Yeah.
like glory and kickboxing and one championship. But yeah, some people don't even they don't want to go on one championship. They just want to go to Thailand and fight in Lumpini. So you got all different
motivations.
motivations.
Yeah. Is it better, for example, for someone like at the level of Jazzy right now, is it better to be doing boxing or MMA in terms of money, financial?
I think for boxing, she definitely sees the potential to make money in that, because there's other fighters out there that she looks up to that are making good money from boxing.
Yeah, right.
And there are some fighters that are fighting in Madison Square Garden and women making $1 million. Like
Yeah.
that for Jazzy's like, that's achievable. I can achieve that. So that's for
Yeah.
her. She sees that, and she sees that in her future. So that's why she's not detouring back to MMA,
Yeah.
which I would love her to do.
Yeah.
Because I just think there's so much potential in that. Look at Ronda Rousey. I mean,
Yeah.
and that was one of Jazzy's idols. And there's other female fighters out there that they make really good money from fighting in MMA. But
Yeah.
if her passion's boxing, I'm happy for her to box. They can
To
make
do it.
very good money in that.
Yeah,
She
yeah,
can make
that's
very good
that's
money.
certainly a very lucrative
Yeah.
sport at the moment. How would you describe your relationship with Jazzy? I think it's fascinating. Like watching you, it's like really good friends. Like
Yeah, we're definitely good friends, but sometimes she doesn't want to tell me everything because she doesn't like my motherly
coming in.
response. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, we get along super great, but right now she's kind of going through a phase where she is young, wild, and free, and I love seeing her blossom like that.
Yeah, no, and what I love about her is that she's such a go-getter. Whenever she
yeah.
wants something, she seems
She
like
works very hard for you.
yeah, exactly, like an actual person. And doing the documentary as well, like learning more about how she thinks and stuff like that. Like she wants all this stuff. She wants like the big things, and that resonates with me, right? Because I'm always telling people like I'm gonna be a millionaire. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna
Yeah.
do that. Like I have massive goals, and I tell people, a lot of people are like, oh, what if you don't make it? What if you don't make these things that you always say? I'm like, I'm going to die trying. That's
at
the
least
big
you're going to,
thing.
for sure.
Yeah, like I will, if you kill me, even tomorrow, if you kill me, and they play my movie, I know that guy was giving everything he had. I know he was working towards something. I know he had a big why. I know he was putting the work. I know he was not being lazy. I know he wasn't taking things for granted. So that will make me feel fulfilled. If you
Yeah.
play me and I was like, oh, I didn't give everything.
Yeah.
Like I wasn't giving enough. That will kill me.
Yeah,
That
for
will
sure.
literally kill me. Do you feel that you gave everything you had to the sport and everything?
Well, as a fighter, I just knew I was finished. Like I just didn't feel like I needed to make $1 million from fighting. So that was never my end game. That was never my goal. My main goal was to make, Boonchu a household name and a worldwide name. Not a household name, a world-renowned name, and I believe that I've achieved that with John Wayne, of course. And then like his, I think, goal was to be a household name, and he's also achieved that. You know, we go somewhere and people, hey Johnny, or they recognize him, and Jazzy's doing it too. So through the sport, and that's what's the great part about it. I feel like we've been successful, you know, and like I'm not worried about, like she's like, oh, I'm gonna buy you this, I'm gonna buy you that, or something like that. And I think it's sweet. But they were saying that, you know, surpassing your parents, you know, you should surpass your parents. You should be a little bit more successful than your parents. And I want that. And I want to train, you know, help my kids grow and blossom and be successful. But so I don't know. I think, if that's your main goal, to be a millionaire, you keep going until you die.
Yeah, exactly. It'll be like that. That's just one of the goals, you know. Then, but yeah, it will certainly be like that. You're just making me think a lot, you know, about my family and all these things. Like if you should surpass your family, right?
Yeah.
And I think it'll be almost a disservice or being ungrateful not trying that, right? Like they gave you life, they gave you this great opportunity to be on the floating rock, and you just gonna settle with whatever you can get, or being mediocre or being average. Or it's like, I don't know. I see my dad as such a superhero. You know, the guy that was always working, regardless of anything. I can't think of a single day where my dad was like, nah, I'm not working today. I'm lazy. I just want to chill. never.
My dad didn't either.
You know?
He missed like one day or like because he was sick. Literally sick.
Exactly. And I can only think of that, like a day that he was like dying and I was seeing him in bed like suffering, and he'll still be making calls and doing stuff, you know, like work. So to me it's like, how can not try to be great? It'll be a disservice.
We have
that,
we've had good idols, and that's why we, you know, push to be more successful or as successful as our parents.
Yes.
But I hope for the best for Jazzy. Like if whatever she wants, I would love for her. I think one of the things was she wanted to be have more belts than Wayne, and she won a world title at 19. I don't know how old he was when he won his world title, but I know he was 21. So she beat me.
Yeah. That's funny. But she has so much time. She has so much time to accumulate, right? So
accomplish things.
You better buckle up.
Another thing, so when she fought in Thailand for her last fight, she made the same amount of money as Wayne made for his world title in Thailand.
Yeah.
So his first world title. So she made the same as what he made. So you know what I mean? Like you could compare things, and she's already there. Yeah. But like, I'm excited. I'm excited to see what the future brings for my kids.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask you, I've been present in a few fights where you guys are coaching fighters. And I remember this one that I actually filmed, the Baden's fight, where in one part, because I had a mic, I think it was on you or Professor, I can't remember. And there's a part of it where you say, Baden, come on, you have a bigger heart.
Yeah.
I'm curious to see, what kind of things are you telling fighters when you see, because at that point he was about to get choked out. Like it was very
because
close.
I knew what he could survive. I knew what he can take and how fit and strong he was, and I still believe in him. And like he's had a couple losses, but every time he wants to fight and he has an opportunity, I was like, Baden, I believe in you. Like, so I think as long as it takes one person to believe in you, you know, and I want to be that one person for some people. So that's just my help and support for the fighters.
That's beautiful.
Yeah,
I love that. I always tell people, like, you gotta think that most people won't believe in you. You know, even family members, close friends, like you gotta be your biggest fan. You gotta really set in stone in your head that, you know, you're gonna do this regardless of what happens, regardless of how many people are gonna mock you or make fun of it or doubt you. Like that's gonna be imperative in order to succeed.
But those people are gonna make you want to work harder that don't believe in you. So I used to have a bit of conversations when I was younger, and I was like, do you doubt me? Are you kidding me? Like, I am going for it. I loved when people doubted me. I love when people didn't think I could do it. Oh, come on. It's a challenge. Watch this. And I would do that. Yeah. When I was younger, that was a big thing for me. There was a lot of doubt. One guy told me, he's like, oh, you should be a ring cart girl, not a fighter. And then I saw him a couple of years later. I was like, hey, look at my belt. I just won. What have
Get
you
some.
done?
Yeah.
That's happened to me in my life. And, sometimes you kind of need those critics
Yeah.
for, to push you to work a little bit harder, because you do have a lot of people to prove wrong.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
I like proving people wrong.
I love that too. Yeah. And it's almost like you have to reframe your perspective, right?
Yeah.
Because some people will take that as like, oh, they think I can't. Maybe they're right, like I can't do it, right? So you have to have that little power, mental power to be like, no, fuck you, I can't do this.
It's having a strong mental game.
Yes.
And it's about being tough and being hard in life. Like,
Yes.
yeah, for sure.
Yeah, for everything.
I like seeing people pass their limits and do a little bit more than they could do. I had a fighter yesterday. He has 100 fights. I said, the number to beat is 66 burpees in 3 minutes. And he thought I said 50. He hit 50. I was like, no, it's 66. So he kept doing them till he got to 66. He had to do 16 more because he thought it was 50. He's like, I never thought I could do 66. I thought I could only do 50. And so I think making things that we've achieved and we're like, okay, you can do this because this is what we've achieved. You can surpass this. And a lot of times they do. A lot of times in the gym, like, records get broken all the time, and we love it. We're there to cheer people on.
And that's fascinating, right? When a record gets broken and it took, let's say, years for someone to do like a minute run faster or whatever, then suddenly a bunch of people always break the record quicker. It doesn't take the same amount of years because
that many people believe, and it's a mindset.
Yes,
it's
exactly.
having a strong mindset, and because the mental strength game is super strong.
Yes, because they had a ceiling.
They know.
Yes.
They know it's going to work. They believe.
Now they know. There's a
but
living
before
proof.
they didn't know.
Yes.
But now they
that's
know.
why we need the crazy people, right? We need the people that believe, like, hey, you can make $1 million being a fighter. You can make $1 million being a filmmaker. You can make $1 million doing whatever you love, right? You need those people that break those limits, and then all the people realize, like, oh shit, it's possible. That's what, like, one of my personal goals, is to show people, like, hey, it doesn't matter where you come from, how you look, if you're tall, if you're strong, all these things, like, you can really accomplish anything you want. Like, I want to prove that, hey, I come from Venezuela, third world country, didn't even spoke English 6 years ago, like anything. And suddenly we're having a deep conversation in a different language, like all these things. And I will become a millionaire. I will have businesses. I will show that, hey, you can do whatever you want. That's the kind of people we need. We need more people that believe in the impossible, like,
for sure.
I've turned my mindset to, like, anything is possible, anything I want. If I really put the time, the effort, the work, there's always a way around it. Sometimes it's not exactly maybe what you want. If you want to, to have to be maybe a professional fighter, but maybe you can have your gym. Maybe you can have a YouTube channel where you speak about all the fighter stuff and you get sponsorships and things like that. There's always like a twisted way, and sometimes it's not exactly what you wanted, but you can be around it. Like, there's different things.
Yeah, it's really cool
Around it.
There's a famous fighter, Peter Arts, and he's got his own YouTube channel now, and he was a legend in the K1 days. And also, he's from Holland, and he's a really good fighter, and he's got his own YouTube channel. I was like, genius. Of course people are going to want to see that.
Yeah, exactly.
So good. Do it.
Yeah.
There are going to be people that want to support you, so do
for
it.
sure. That's the other thing. We always underestimate the impact, of things, that how the little things you do that make you happy and all this stuff can impact the life of other people. I'm sure if you start asking people around the gym, like, hey, how does Boonchu has impacted your life? I'm telling you, you will have things like messages that you're like, whoa, I never thought about that. Like, I never thought we had that kind of impact, in it.
Yeah, it's a beautiful thing.
If you could go back and give the best advice you could give to young Angie for life in general, to kind of get whatever she wants and be successful and be happy and all these things, what kind of advice would you give her?
I probably would have said, do jiu-jitsu younger. But they say that all the time. Oh, I wish I started younger.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think that's one of those things. But I don't think that because I didn't start younger, I still can't be as successful at it. Like, I can still be a big part of my life. So, yeah, just...
Why jiu-jitsu?
Because I think, the MMA and the martial arts, I think I could have been a little bit ahead of the game. Right now I'm back and I'm working forward, but I'm patient. And I know I have a lot of time. So, and even if I don't, I've still set the grounding stones, like, for things to happen for, you know, my kids and stuff like that. But yeah, it would have been really cool if I started a little bit earlier.
What about a general skill, something like that is applicable to any area of life? If you could give her one thing, she's 29.
Oh,
my
you know.
age, what would it be?
No, speaking Spanish.
Ah,
Why didn't I learn when I was younger? It's so hard. It's so hard to learn it now at 43. Like
It'll
it
be
was
so hard,
so easy, so much easier when I was younger. But how old were you when you moved here and started learning
I
speaking
was
English?
23.
See, when you're 23, you're so young.
Yeah, you still. There's actually studies about that. Like you still have neuroplasticity until 25. So
Yes, up
anything
to
you want to
25,
learn
yeah.
before 25 usually is easier on you.
So I
kind of
wish
thing.
I learned another language. I was speaking other languages, and I know a little bit of certain languages, but I never became completely fluent in one. And I wish I did that.
Yeah.
That would be cool.
Yeah, awesome.
That would be a cool thing to
And-
have in my back pocket.
Last question to close this up. If you could give 3 pieces of advice for business owners, anyone that is an entrepreneur or starting a business, any 3 lessons that, hey, if you want to have a successful business, regardless of the area, these are 3 things that you better pay attention to and or kind of like work in it.
Wow, that's a deep question. I mean, I can just say, you know, being a good business and don't do dodgy stuff. Like you really you don't want it to, the backlash of
Have a bad reputation.
bad reputation. You want to do as best as you can. And like, not everyone's going to be happy either. So you just got to try to run a good business. And, you know, I guess just, you know, social networking, you know, having a good social media and responding and stuff like that. I'm still a little bit slack in that because I get so many messages and I'm just one person that replies. And John Wayne gets so many messages and he responds to them all. So, you know, we do get flooded in with that. So just having a good social media so people can contact you and responding to people is really nice. I don't know. I don't know what the third one could be. What do you suggest to run a good business? The third
To
one.
run a good business, I think you need to learn business. That's a big thing. Like understand depends of who are we talking to, right? But if I was talking to an entrepreneur and is just starting a business or someone that either wants to start a gym or whatever, first I think it's very important that you're starting something that you love or you could do for a very long time, because it takes a while to understand how to make a profitable business or even a successful business. It's very unlikely that you can just look at statistics, you know,
Even if you don't study business, you could be an apprentice to someone and stuff like that. So that's what I did. I was an apprentice. I went to uni for 2 years, but I didn't go to uni for business.
Yeah.
I learned in the business, in successful businesses.
So finding mentors, you know,
mentors,
that's so
find
important.
A mentor.
Find a
That's a good
mentor.
one.
Yeah, that's a
number
great
4.
one, actually. Good job. Good job. Yeah, find a mentor, because you need to see it first if you will actually can picture yourself. Because for the longest time I was like, maybe having a coffee shop will be great, until I worked in a coffee shop and I saw how stressed they were. I'm like, well, no, fuck that. I don't want that. So you know, so I think you need to have some sort of like life experience in whatever you want to do, and then see like, oh, okay, am I picturing myself being there in a while? Because even if you're planning on selling that business and build it to a point where you can sell it, like it's gonna take a while, you know, and you're gonna be in it. So you better enjoy it, kind of thing. But Angie, thank you so much for making the time to come here today. I knew this was gonna be fun. So I really appreciate you for that. Where can people find you and get in touch with you and train with you and all these things?
So Boonchu.com, that has all of our details in there. And then we have Instagram, Boonchu, and we're pretty active. So people can contact us through there.
Yeah, awesome. Guys, thank you for tuning in to another episode of the Creative Grid podcast. I hope this served you and you got some value out of it. Like I said, I'm trying to give you guys people from different areas of life so we can all learn from these legends and apply all of that to our lives to become a better version of ourselves and successful when it comes to the creative industry. And make sure to follow us at the Creative Grid on every platform and at Nelf Life. I'll see you on the next one. Good vibes. You. How's that?
Very good.
Sally
Cool.
Cop.
Sarika. Very good.
No, thank you so much,
Cool.
Angie. That was awesome.
Yeah.